Wow, that's actually crazy. You can see me so well for once. Because I'm using my tripod right now. Let me light a candle so you can see me a bit better. So, it's only like a day or two, I think. I think it's only a day since I recorded my last video with this same shirt, where I was talking about feeling like I didn't really, I can't use my voice, and I'm struggling with that. Now I'm feeling a lot better. I feel like the energy has changed like 180 overnight. I got into planning a lot with my business and the things that I need to launch. I'm feeling less overwhelmed. I just wanting to my brain to cooperate with my heart in terms of what I want to do. So I basically wrote like a list. Sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. He's in the litter box shitting. And these are like their shells behind me. If you're curious, they like playing on them. So I basically made a list of like the crucial steps that I need to do in order to do my launch, because every time I try and work on things related to my business, I think I get like sidetracked because I'm kind of like, okay, there's all these things I need to figure out, but where's the specific timeline and the milestones that I need to be tracking? So now I finally made a list. I think I made something like this before, but it had way too much detail. So now I have 6 steps, more like 5. So that makes things a lot more manageable. And I tried to put a date associated with everything because based on the research that I've done before, I need to kind of work backwards. I need to set the launch date and then work backwards based on that in terms of when I need to get the website set up and when I need to have inventory, etc., etc. One of the main things that has kind of, like been a hang up for me in terms of planning has been related to the inventory part, because I don't have money to invest up front. Like I do not have the money and the funds to pay like $1,000, $5,000, whatever, for a large amount of inventory, but also that's generally high risk because you might not sell all of it, etc. So I've been looking into other sort of avenues. At first I thought with my launches I was going to basically do kind of like a limited edition launch where I would basically have people sign up and pre-order for a certain amount of my products, and then once I reached that threshold, which would be the same as the minimum order quantity of a manufacturer, then I would give the information and the money to the manufacturer with the funds that I made, and then they would produce it and then I would ship it to the customer. But that would make the fulfillment time really, really long, and I feel like it just could potentially be a lot more complicated, especially given the fact that one of the products that I'm going to be launching in this first launch in December or early January is a custom product that that is solely based on the person's birth chart and their birth information. So it's custom, and that way like each one will be different based on that information given. So that complicates fulfillment and manufacturing. But I've decided to choose print on demand instead. And I haven't gotten into the details of that. I need to figure out what it's going to be like, and I also need to finalize the content that I'm going to create. I have the specific products that I want to launch in mind, and I've built those out in terms of like the specs and everything, but I need to actually create the information and like the layout of everything that goes inside, which feels a little bit overwhelming in some ways, because I want to make it valuable and unique, not just like something stock and like just take it from like AI completely or something, because I want it to feel like there was actually intention that went into it, because the whole point of my brand is that making sure that people are able to put time into their own personal development and spiritual wellness in a way that feels very intentional and very grounded with the goals that they have, right? So I'm gonna start that process this week, and then while I do this, I guess I need to work with I need to speak to a colleague of mine about the process of getting my website made. Initially, I was thinking I was just going to create it with like the AI assistant on Shopify or something, but after tarot readings by myself and by others and shit, I'm like, okay, I need to probably just pay someone for this, which is a little bit of a headache because I don't know how much that's going to cost. But I'm going to ask my colleague who works in the design department at my job. I'm like good friends with him. I haven't told him about my business idea, but he used to have his own business doing design, and I think he would know someone or would be able to offer kind of like a middle range suggestion of where I should go, how much time it'll take, because again, it all goes back to that launch date. So I need to be mindful of that. But it's interesting because it's the 7th of December, so I'm fine with working while I'm on break in terms of like on this project, but I'm going to be spending a lot of time with family and also my boyfriend when he comes to visit. So the actual time that I'll have to work will be limited, but obviously I will be off of work, so I'll have more time than if I was at work, you know? So I'm trying to figure out how all this stuff works. I'm trying not to get overwhelmed by it. But the energy definitely feels like very conducive for doing something like this, and it's funny how things come full circle, because like one of the things that really always like made it difficult for me whenever I was like trying to actually pursue this idea for a long time is the fact that I always thought that I didn't have the supplies that I needed and I didn't know enough. And I think I really got lost in that loop of like research, where you watch videos or you read books and all these sort of things, and you're trying to know every single thing in order to determine the steps to take forward. Just because that's kind of the way that I usually solve problems, is I want to like understand the whole landscape and then move forward. But oftentimes that holds us back from really being able to do what we need to do and make progress. So it's funny because I'm looking at my desk right now, and I've got a number of things here, some of which I have owned for a year or more, right? Which is where it's that full circle moment, and other things that I haven't. And I'm just gonna be upfront with you because like this is the whole point of my channel, but like I literally have a journal that I bought about a year ago. It says Trust the Universe, very cliche but cute. And I basically bought this with another journal with the intention of this specific one being used for my business planning and entrepreneurship. But at that point in time, I was living in Dubai and I was working a job that I hated. It was paying me literally nothing, pennies. I was living with my ex-girlfriend, and I was just in such a state of like confusion on how I could even get started with anything. I didn't feel aligned with myself. The environment that I was in didn't match with things. Everything was out of place, and I didn't feel like I could put down roots, etc., etc. We can get into why that is at another point in time. But just earlier tonight actually, whenever I was doing more planning, I ripped out a ton of pages that I had in here before that I had written all these ideas on, and these different types of businesses and like YouTube channels and their growth and their followers and how long it took them, blah, 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 all these sort of things and ideas for me to be able to understand what should I do, right? But even then, it still felt like uncomfortable to do because I had the fear of being seen, but also like I didn't trust myself that it was the right thing to do because I've struggled so much in my life understanding what my purpose is. Why of all times do they want to be so loud? Like my cats are being really annoying. I'm gonna hope that it's not loud. Anyways, yeah, I've struggled so much with that, and struggled with the ability to trust in myself and my ideas and my judgment because of the environment that I've grown up in, and being very different from everyone else and wanting to do things differently, and people not understanding, and therefore me then thinking that I'm in the wrong. And also some negative experiences furthering that point, right? But before I get off on a tangent, let me continue with the whole supplies thing. And then I have a MacBook. I bought this probably about a month or two ago. And I'm gonna be candid, I bought it like with like installments because it's expensive. But I literally, the computer that I owned was an old gaming computer that was like probably like 10 pounds. It was so big, and it just wasn't going to be feasible. It wasn't fast enough, strong enough. It was old, and etc. etc. I use MacBooks for work, and I really was like, okay, I want my own MacBook. So I got this one, and it's been really helpful thus far. And then I also have this book, which I've actually probably only read like maybe 10 to 20 pages of. I took off the sleeve, so it had like a cover and everything, but it's called Disciplined Entrepreneurship, 24 Steps to a Successful Startup, by someone named something Wiley. Can't find it right now, but basically he worked at MIT in their entrepreneurship department and basically helped students create businesses and all these sort of things. I bought this at not a bookaholic, but like one of those used bookstores probably a month ago, and it was kind of with the idea of, okay, I'm actually going to make Reluctantly Human a business and I'm going to launch it, etc., etc. But I do need to know the foundations of what it takes to build a business and certain things that I should do. Since buying it and reading some of it and developing the customer feedback survey that I did, I have kind of like, not backpedaled, but I've taken a different approach now of, okay, I don't want to follow everything this book says word for word because I'm someone who's very much like guided by my heart rather than my mind. And when my mind gets involved, that's when things get complicated and I'm not able to like actually move forward with things. So I've kind of taken a pause on that for now. I will come back to it as a resource as I'm developing things, but right now I just need to do the steps that I listed and figure that shit out, and then be able to kind of like reiterate on things, because I think that I'm in a distinct advantage because of the fact that the business that I'm launching is a personal hobby of mine. I've been practicing tarot and astrology for about 6 years. I recently got into witchcraft and like more occult practices within, probably it's only been like maybe 6 months, maybe a little bit less than that, in terms of like working with deities and doing like spells and things and rituals. So I have a lot of knowledge about the space and like people there and kind of their goals and just all these sort of things that I feel like are important in order to cater to customers. So yes. Anyways, I think it's like, sorry, I keep tapping the camera. I'm trying to see how much time it's been since I've been recording. I think it's 11:31 p.m. I should be tired right now, but I took a really long nap. I took like a 3-hour nap earlier today. They want to play, so. Anyways, I think I'm going to end this here because I don't want it to be too long. I don't want it to be too overwhelming. But also I think I need to like wind down so I'll actually be able to sleep. Because I don't want to say I have a long week ahead, but I have some things that I definitely need to finish for my job. That's how I have been referring to things these days. So like not my work, but my job, because my business is something else. And I'm really looking forward to the day when I can be like, yes, I own my own business. I set my own hours. I do my own shit. I don't have a boss. Thank God. I'm not a fan of authority. If you have not noticed already. Anyways, so I'll end this here. And I'll chat with you guys again soon. Bye.